Going on, everybody? Welcome to King's Talk on the Lapeef Network. I'm gonna introduce the panel that we got for tonight. We got Trill, we got Rilla, we got Shannon, Trisha, Clint, and myself from Lapeef Jr. Welcome to King Talk. How you guys doing? How you brothers doing? Y'all good?
And amazing, bro.
Amazing. All right, let me unmute these mics. My bad. Said y'all doing good?
Yeah, it's all good over here on the West Coast.
Great.
Yeah. Good to see you again, Shannon. I know you took a little break.
Yeah, man. We're working on building an ADU in my backyard.
Okay, I hear that. Trey, I see you rocking that red.
Yeah, man, I had to rip for a minute. I've been wearing too much black these days. What the saying?
Trill, I've never seen Trill in red in anything other than black.
All right, you guys. Before we get the show started, make sure you guys get them likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all the support. That's right, crew season is in the house. We're gonna get started with our first topic of the day, which everybody's been talking about, is the crash of Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. In particular, I don't use WhatsApp, but Instagram and Facebook. It was all in the media, man. So many people would just seem to be lost. I want to get you guys' thoughts about it. What did you think about it, Trill?
Man, I thought it was hilarious. I say it all the time. Like when these social media things crash, we get to find out exactly who's who as far as like in real life compared to online. Like a lot of people's like livelihoods, a lot of people's identity, more importantly, is tied to who they are online. So when these things crash and they don't get to get that immediate validation, you get to seeing people going into panic mode, man. Like the damn power went out, like the electricity went out or something. It's like, wait, oh my God, I can't. I'm trying to refresh. Yeah, people like restarting their modems 10 times and or deleting the apps and re-downloading them again. And I'm sitting back just laughing, like, damn, this is incredible, man. But I guess, I guess being born and coming in the era before all of this shit hit, like it's real easy for me to just clock out and just go back to regular life. But for a lot of people, it's not. I think that's what that showed us.
Yeah, I agree. I was one of the people that restarted. I restarted my computer, man. I was on my way to calling AT&T. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. All right, what about you, Rilla? What you thought about it, man? What were you doing?
Man, you know what I was doing. I was working. I didn't even know it went down. I didn't know it went down till I got I think I got home and was on Twitter or something. I was looking at something and everybody was talking about the crash. So I just thought it was interesting that, when that type of stuff happened, people don't take advantage. Like, as I understand it, they were down for like 6 hours. So pick up a book, man. You know what I'm saying? Or talk to somebody that you love, or make a phone call or something. But then what I was really intrigued by, what I was really trying to find out is, did the stock price drop? Right.
Yeah.
So it dropped like, I think 5% at the end of yesterday, and then it was back up 1% in the morning. So it ain't affect nothing.
Yeah, 5% drop is a big drop.
It is, but for Facebook, they're gonna rebound in another day or two
immediately.
Yeah, sure. Let me get your thoughts about it, Clint. What you thought about the drop?
I think it's interesting. We have this notion nowadays. It's like, because we have social media, that it's like the moment it crashes, it's like people think like, oh, you're not who you are, blah blah blah. But like, I don't know about y'all, but I tell jokes for a living, and at the end of the day, like, I gotta promote shows. At the end of the day, like, some people actually do make money off that app. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people have commitments that they have to honor through different brands and social medias that they have to honor. And at the end of the day, like, those things do stop. And let's be honest, like, people get their information from social media. And I know that's a bad thing. It could be good or bad, but let's think about it. Like, when things happen, that is the first place you go, at least just to see what's going on before you decide to do your own research. I don't think it's more so necessarily people aren't, or people not talking to each other or anything like that. I mean, yes, that's part of it. But the other half is, let's look at it from a business perspective. Like, if you make money, marketing to people, you make money, you know what I'm saying? Like, getting people or getting consumers to buy whatever you have, then yeah, that's the 6 hours that's detrimental. And no, don't get me wrong. Like, you could always figure out new ways, blah, 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 blah. That's a fact. But not having it for 6 hours for some people, yeah, I can understand why it's very important. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really want to get technical and not to be on no Hollywood shit, but like, yo, like, we working on a show right now. Like, we need social media. Like, we're casting. We need social media. Like, one way or another. You know what I'm saying? So I get the sentiment behind, like we don't know who we are. Like, I get that, but let's be real. Like, social media now is ingratiated in this culture. It's ingratiated in society. Unfortunately, let's be honest too. Like, if you don't have a social media, we kind of look at you like you weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no trace of you. There's no, and I'm not, again, that's extra. But at the end of the day, I think that there's a lot of people who need social media, not because of trying to validate themselves or anything like that. Sometimes it is a money play. And, it being down for 6 hours, that costs you money. It costs you views when you post a video. And yeah, people get paid off them joints. And the algorithm is messed up. And now the video that you thought was dope, you got to take it down. You got to figure, like, that's important. That is a thing.
Yeah. All right, Chizza, what you think about it? Did it affect you in any type of way?
Yeah, the first time I saw it, man, I thought it was just a bug, but then I started tripping because I thought Facebook was after me for probably about 2 hours. I thought they found me, they found my content. And because I've heard a lot of, content creators getting their accounts taken off. I actually made a video about it. The first thing was like, okay, so what am I going to do? And I just happened to go on Google and check and see that everything was shut down. And after that, all I thought was, I think it was a good moment for people to see whether social media took over their whole life. I understand the business aspect, being a content creator myself, definitely, but I think a lot of the times people just don't go outside anymore. And I was telling people, it's okay. It's going to be okay. Because on TikTok, people were shocked, but it's okay. Go outside, enjoy yourself, go in the sun. It's going to be all right. A lot of people were freaking out, but I understand. And I'm a content creator, so I get it. Yeah.
That's the first thing I did was Google, because I remember it happened at least once or twice before, I think within the past couple of years. So I just Googled Instagram and it popped right up. It was down. So I already knew what time it was. What about you, Shannon?
Well, I don't know. Clint mentioned it was down 6 hours. I thought it was down longer than that. At least it felt longer than that. But a couple things. One, I'm a fashion designer. I have a studio and I run 7 brands. So I run ads continuously all year long, nonstop. I'm cool because Facebook contacted us that had live ads. And so it did affect my ad spend, but then they're recompensating all the people that had live ads. So I'm like, I actually came up. They're giving me free space for 2 of my fashion brands, Burning Sands and Monochrome. But one thing I realized is that people needed to take a break. It gave people an opportunity to take a break. And when Facebook and Instagram goes down, whenever I see it go down, I run straight to Twitter. And I just go to Twitter to see what's trending. And I saw it was happening over there. And I just got off the computer and just, first of all, I was already working on stuff at the back of the house. But still, I noticed that a lot of other people needed to take a break. Now, on Clubhouse, there was a lot of discussion at Clubhouse, and people were talking about, this is why you need to find another stream of income, and everybody was getting the opportunity to take a jab at the Instagram models and the people that make money. But like Clint, like myself, like even those Instagram models, that's how some people get paid. And I don't necessarily think that people need to go find a different method to get money, because the biggest argument is for those conspiracy theorists is, one day they're going to just take it away. They're not going to y'all think Facebook is going to just disappear one day, or Instagram is they're going to just take it away one day? It's not going to just get taken away. I know there was a scare with the OnlyFans thing, right? With the sex workers, and they took that away. And that's only because the credit card companies, it wasn't that OnlyFans wanted to get rid of sex content. It was the credit card companies were not going to allow them to run credit cards through their charging system. OnlyFans always wanted the content. They were losing their opportunity to charge Visa, MasterCard, American Express. And when they found a different company to run the credit cards through is when they retracted the statement. So these companies are not getting rid of cash. It's all about the dollars, man. This is a capitalistic society, and if you make money, don't worry about it, because if you had your own website is going to be down for 6 hours too. Trust me, I run a whole server, and that sucker comes down way more often than Facebook, Instagram, Google, and the rest of them. So it was just a time for everybody to take a break, man.
You know, another thing though, I think it gave people a chance to really check how their infrastructure is set up. Like they got like a lot of people that's content creators on social media, and they just dominant on one platform. Just that. Hey, YouTube is all I do. That's all. I don't do nothing else. Snapchat, Facebook, that's all I do. Instagram, that's all I do. But I think it gave people a chance to check their infrastructure and to get dominant on multiple platforms. Because again, if you own multiple platforms, when Instagram went down, I immediately went to Twitter, and all those numbers is spiked. Now regular tweets that's doing 50 retweets is doing 300. Videos that's getting 2,000 views is doing 15,000. You know what I'm saying?
Those tweets
So
don't
it's
put
like,
money in your pockets though.
right. Yeah, but I mean, you could use that to add and send people to where they spend the money at. So say, for instance, I'm an author, right? And I'm big on Instagram. Sure, cool. But if your infrastructure is set up right, I'm big on Twitter too. So I can say, look, I got this book coming out. I can do my adding over there on Twitter, or direct people to my Patreon from there, or say, hey, I know supposed to drop on Instagram or whatever, but hey, everything's going to Patreon right now. So again, it's not saying that how their situation is set up is wrong. I don't really care how people's situation is set up. But I'm saying it gave you a chance to really check your infrastructure and like broaden your brand out. Because again, he spoke about endorsements. I understand. Shit, I had a post due for Grey Goose yesterday, but I mean we couldn't post it. But I mean they had some leniency. Say, hey, look, we understand what's going on. We're gonna credit y'all this, credit y'all that. Reschedule the post and just keep it pushing. But I mean, again, if you're a hustler, you're gonna find a way. And I think situations like that, it really forces you to, which I think is healthy in my opinion. But continue.
Go ahead, Clint. What were you saying about?
I mean, I hear you. I think Twitter, I mean, it's not the same, but I hear you. I think that's kind of like an apples and oranges thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Twitter has no direct monetization algorithm out. You can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm not just hot on Instagram or whatever platform. Like, I got stuff going on in real life. I was a comedian before social media. My point is, though, I'm speaking for I'm just trying to look at it from the other perspective and saying to myself, instead of me looking at it very narrow-mindedly and saying, oh, and I'm not saying you guys are, please don't think that. I'm just saying, instead of me looking at it from this perspective, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, this was bad, but it was also bad for these people. And it was also, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's so my thing is like, yo, like for some people, and on top of that, not even just that, though, for some people, like, yo, like, yeah, like, you got to remember sometimes, man, like, I don't know how stressful people's jobs is. But sometimes you need stuff. You need social media to take a break. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how some people really be going through it through their 9 to 5, and sometimes the best they have to keep them through their day is motherfuckers like me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing too. We you know, we also talk about how bad social media helps, how bad social media has consumed us. But sometimes, you know, I'm just saying, I'm looking at it from the good in it. You know, so.
I'm curious though, like staying on that business perspective, right? Because I work in retail and leadership, right? And so, you know, one thing that I know is something always gonna happen, and I can only control the controllables. So then, in the situation like that, Clint, did you do anything to pivot yesterday to recapture some of the business? You didn't have to.
We're literally in production on a television show right now as we speak. Like, I don't have time to worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, I didn't need to pivot. But if I were in a situation to where I need, like, it to me, I know Instagram and Facebook wasn't going to be down that long anyway. But let's just say, like, think about it. When the pandemic happened, right? We all thought when it first happened, it was going to be like a week, or that's what they were saying. Like, yo, we're going to be in the house for a week, 2 weeks. It wasn't until like April when because like it was like the middle of March, but it wasn't until like April 1st when we realized, we're going to be in the house for a little while. You know what I'm saying? And now as a content creator, I do have to pivot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have the access of getting on stage no more. I can't be on tour. So I got to figure something else out, which we all do. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, if Instagram, Facebook, or whatever goes down after a certain period of time, we'll figure it out, get hot somewhere else. Like, you know, I got a decent following on TikTok. I hate that platform, but I got it. You know what I'm saying? I got it. You know what I'm saying? But like, my thing is that I don't think that, you know, I don't think it should cause you to have to pivot. If that, you know what I'm saying? Because my thing is, it's only for a couple of hours. You know what I'm saying? Like my thing is, I don't need to post for 6. I'll be all right. Like I remember back in February, you know, I got rid of my social media for like 3 weeks. Like didn't tweet, didn't be on Instagram, didn't be on none of that, and it was actually therapeutic. Like it helped me. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's just me. I'm just, you know, again, I'm speaking. I got it. You know, I'm trying to speak for, you know, the person who yesterday, like, damn, they got some stuff going on and they couldn't get it done because of this.
Yeah.
I want to make a point real quick. It's based on what we're talking about. I'll tell you guys, for me, that experience really reminded me that I need to diversify my platforms, because like you, Clint, man, I don't really mess with TikTok, you know, like that. But I'm going to start because of what happened.
Yeah,
and it inspired me to get to that. But I want to.
I'm sorry to cut you off real quick. Just before you go to TikTok, bro, they are not conducive. They're not good for Black culture.
Oh yeah, no. I've seen it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm gonna figure out something. But let me say this: I think we all underestimate how quickly things can change. Facebook will one day be gone. Instagram will one day be gone. People in the past thought Hollywood Blockbuster and Toys R Us was going to last forever. You know, they thought people enjoyed walking through those hallways or those little aisles to pick out the movies. But when Netflix came out, they were out the window. You know, so I think it's an opportunity, if you are in business whatsoever, that even if you're not going to directly monetize from a platform like TikTok, you should consider it, because attention is currency, you know. But these platforms won't last forever.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts, man. It was a great discussion, man. I guess we can all take something from this. You know, just try to see if we can get on some other platforms, and always have a plan B. That's just life in general. Always have a plan B.
Real quick though, Clint, you're pretty big on TikTok though, right?
I got like 70,000.
Just only 70,000. Okay.
No, but I'm saying this guys are like millions of people. Like that's nothing. Like it's not like, and honestly, it's a young audience, and they was blocking a lot of them videos that I was doing talking about Pound Town or whatever you call it. So like every time
the Pound Town series you had was fun.
They would say I'm doing hate speech and block the video. Like TikTok did that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that's what I'm saying. Like they literally would take down, like they would say I posted hate speech.
Okay. You guys are just tuning in. Welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. Appreciate the support, all the super chats. Get them likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Moving on to our next topic, which is talking about men's growth. Men's growth. I think this is a very important conversation. I have somewhat of an example. I was actually talking to one of the guys I grew up with. And within that conversation, we was discussing just general stuff. We was talking about women in particular. He's been having like a lot of dating issues whatsoever, not finding any quality women. And so one of the things that I've been meaning to have a conversation with him about, because I think it's tough when you're trying to tell people the truth. And so you just try to find that right moment to be able to speak with them. And I felt as though it was one of those moments. And I told him, I say, man, you got to change who you are. You know, you have to understand the advantages of growth. And then once you start to change that, then everything else around you will change when it comes to dating opportunities and just having more options. So I just want to speak about men's growth. Let's talk about it, Shan.
Man, you know, you guys heard the term stuck in your heyday?
Yeah.
Al Bundy.
You know, growth is important, but a lot of people just can't get past it because they can't get past the days of yesteryear where life was just super grand. It's when it comes to men, generally speaking, like, okay, I'll give you an example. Whenever you see a brother in LA, because I'm in LA, was still rocking a Jerry curl in 2021, older brother generally, and you always look at him and you take a look at what he's wearing and you ask him, like, why is he still rocking that? Because he remembers how many women he had, how much money he made, what kind of car he drove at the time that he was wearing and looking what he looked like today. And so that brother's stuck in his heyday. So a lot of people when you speak about grown men who haven't understand the idea of growth, some people can't get past the best times of their lives thinking that it's going to somehow, you know, through osmosis and wishful thinking, just happen all over again. And as a result, man, it's a lot of brothers that just can't get past who they used to be. So being 49 years old, and I'm speaking from an older standpoint, not the younger guys, and that's a whole different conversation. You get some people who just can't grow. I used to, you know, like I grew up in the gangbang era, right? Like we talked about on a couple of King Talks back in the day. And some of my friends, man, it's sad to say that some of my friends, I graduated high school in 1989. So imagine 1986, 1987, running the streets. I got friends that still write with, like, if you say, I'll be back, they write BACC. They can't do CK. You know what I'm saying? They still spell it. They still talk gangbang talk in 2021. As if that, but they work at Home Depot as a forklift driver, but they 55 years old, man. So growth is important, but some people just can't get past it. Some brothers just can't get past it because they remember the best time of their lives, man. And it's not really helpful in our community, but it is what it is. I have other thoughts, but I like to hear what some of the other brothers talk about too. Because I could circle back to the younger guys and the guys, and I can also talk about growth in relationships with women, which seem to be very stagnant in men. That's why I speak to young men to try to make them better men. But we can come back to that. We'll circle back to that.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't even think that maybe in his mind he might have thought he was on back in the day. But at some point in time, when everybody else around you is moving up, you have to look at yourself and be like, man, what's going on? You know, what's going on? So I don't know.
Yeah, but remember we was on the phone earlier. I said some people, like people who don't get it, don't get that they don't get it. That's a quote I've been singing for 20 years. People who don't get it, don't get that they don't get it. And so you would think that somebody would look in the mirror and say, man, I need to change. You know, things is changing. Times is changing. I need to change my wardrobe. I need to change my vocabulary. I need to, you know, command the English language. I need to get with the program and the way I look and the way I talk to people. But some people just won't do that, man, because they don't get that they are stuck, but they don't get that they don't get it. And it's kind of like they are their own problem.
Okay. Let me get your thoughts about it. Men's growth, Trill.
Man, I think the biggest characteristic that men and just people in general can have is just adaptability, bro. Like that shit is just so important to me. Like you can be as skilled as you want to be, but fact is, like, it's only one thing that's common or constant, pardon me, and that's change. Change is coming, regardless of what it is. Just like Shan talking about back in the day, I was that guy, I was doing this. And I went to school with a lot of people like that. You know what I'm saying? They was, you know, the man had all the women, this, that, and the third. And you look at them now and, you know, they calling you big bro and they 3 years older than you because they couldn't adapt. That they wasn't resourceful. I feel like resourcefulness and adaptability is the biggest damn characteristic that you can have. And that's for relationships as well. That's why a lot of relationships fail. It's not that, you know, people just don't want to be in them, or people get tired of each other. Like that happens, but that's not the main thing. The main thing is that these people are not able to adapt. They still see that person as the person that I met from day one, and they are not. People are changing every day. Me and my old lady been together 13 years. We are nowhere near who we used to be when we first got together. But the reason we are still together is because we both accepted the fact that change is coming and we adapted. And don't get me wrong, it's not easy, but it's something you got to work at. It's something you got to constantly evolve in. But if you don't, your ass is going to be left in the past, man, left in the dust. And that's just what it is, regardless of what industry, what realm, what stage of life you are in. If you do not have the ability to adapt and be resourceful, you will be left behind. And I think that's what a lot of men's problem is in this era.
Yeah, that's a great point. I kind of want you guys to also elaborate on a point that when you guys were changing, I'm assuming you guys changed, that you guys adapted, but how everything else around you changed as well. You know, that was one of the things that I was stressing to him. I said, if you change who you are, if you focus on getting to the bag, because he's not getting to the bag, but if you really start focus on getting to the bag, all that stuff would change. I even asked them, like, tell me what type of woman was the woman that you thought was quality? And he said they had nice personalities, good communication. They was willing to submit. I said, did they have any kids? Yeah. every last one of them had 3 kids. And I said, well, if they was quality, so to speak, why aren't you with them? He said, because they didn't look right. And I said, the reason why, I said, that's not quality, because, you know, those are women that 9 times out of 10 are insecure. And these are the women that we preach about. Like, they're looking for a guy like you. You know, they in their 30s and their 40s, they have toddlers, they have, all 3 of them had children that was under 5. And I said, you don't even know what quality is, because you got yourself boxed in. Once you start focusing on your bag, you're not going to have to look for the woman. The women are going to be chasing you. They're going to be looking for you.
Time out. Kids means she's not quality. I'm confused. I just want to clarify that. What do you mean by she's not quality? I just need clarity.
Well, she comes with baggage.
You said click. What baggage are you talking about?
Children.
So that means she's not quality?
Most likely.
Yeah, most likely.
That's an awful take, and that's an awful take. That's an awful take. Why? Now you want to talk about baggage, right? Mm-hmm. It's interesting, right? Because now you're saying like, oh, she has kids, so she has baggage, and now that apparently that diminishes her. Does that just kind of you guys are saying is that diminishes her value? That's the most preposterous thing I've ever heard in my life. That's literally like how does having a child, nigga, you come from a woman. What the fuck are we talking about? So your value is decreased. So your mom's value is decreased if she wants to go out there and date because she had you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like if she's not married,
it's facts. That's facts.
If that's y'all take, I can't be on this podcast.
That's fine.
Dead ass. So I gotta respectfully bounce like that. If that's how y'all feel, if you feel like because a woman had a child out of wedlock, that means that her value is decreased. Like, yo, like that is part of the problem. We're over here talking about men's growth. Then none of you. Then if that's the case, then that's not growth.
Well, hold tight, Clint.
That's not no. It's not a hold tight because you said I'm asking for clarity, and when I got clarity, I'm hearing that you're saying that women's value diminishes because you have a child out of wedlock. I need like that isn't that like to me.
We're giving you clarity, but if you don't disagree, then just have a conversation.
Right. Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I think we're having a conversation about men's growth on a podcast, and we're saying that women's value because she had a child out of wedlock, her value decreases. That's not growth. So if that's the conversation we having, fellas, I got dip.
So Clint, let me break this down. So here's the thing. Let me switch it. Let me take it off of women. Let me put it on me.
I'm just hearing what they said. I mean, I
hear what you're saying, but so we're talking value. We're saying it's been particularly sexual marketplace value, right? It was not value as a person, but sexual marketplace value. Dating, because you mentioned dating.
No, I didn't mention anything. He said, and I quote, that women are taught. You said that you don't. You said you're choosing these these women who are not quality. So I said, well, what do you mean not quality? And they said, well, she has kids, she has baggage. Or you want to talk about the baggage all you motherfuckers bring? Or you don't want to have that conversation?
No, but that applies as well.
That's part of the conversation.
Hey, I don't have a problem.
But that doesn't apply because you're telling me that it's because somebody has kids out of wedlock, your value diminishes. He's
not qualified. Like if he's not getting to the bag, he's not qualified. So that's what I told him.
But that's no.
Right.
Right. We can put that to the side. A woman, you're telling me a woman's value is decreased because she had a child.
Wait. Let's define what the value is. Because I think. Wait, Clint, are you assuming? No, my man
Chisa said yes.
Let me clarify a little bit. So the value of something is based on what the purchaser wants, right? If I want to go buy a car, I'm not going to look for a motorcycle. And it gets more specific.
Women not motorcycles.
It's a hypothetical, right? So
your mom is not a motorcycle.
Hey, hold on, Clint. Hold on, Clint.
No.
Okay, we're gonna bounce, then bounce, man.
I'm out.
All right, bounce. Got time for that shit, man.
King talk.
Oh man,
I honestly wanted to hear his perspective.
I wanted to hear it too.
Yeah,
but the whole thing is he can't have the conversation. You get in his emotions.
Yeah, he got in his emotions a little bit, man. That's part of the problem right there. I mean, part of the problem, right?
So when I tell you guys I'm twice married, twice divorced, right? And I had my first child with my last wife because I now have 2 sons, and my oldest son is 6 years old. My youngest son is 3 years old. I had my first son at the age 42. I was called a unicorn because I had everything that women want. I was over 6 feet. I made a certain amount of money. I looked a certain way. I had, I didn't have any children. I'm 40 years old and I'm considered a unicorn. Right now, back out on now that me and my ex we're friends. We make money together. We share businesses. We co-parent. We raise our children. We're just not intimate. And
that was a dope video too, Shan. I saw that video.
Oh, the child support one.
Yep. That was a dope video.
That's the video. That's my ex-wife.
Yeah.
So we rock with each other, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, here's the thing: is my value on the sexual marketplace as high as it was before I had children? The answer is no.
No.
The reality is, I am not as valuable to a single woman, especially a single woman with no children, as I once was when I didn't have kids. That's now, true. Is that a good thing? Does it feel good to say that? Well, the truth don't give a shit about my feelings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The truth is the truth, whether I like it or not. And so when I was a unicorn at 40 with no children, clean, everything was perfect. Now that I'm a single man with 2 kids, am I as valuable to another woman who's interested in a guy like me as I would be if I did not have children? Doesn't take away if I'm a valuable person, but my value level decreases. It just does. And I realize that and I understand that. And right. I think that's the point that we're making. Now, Clint got upset because we mentioned women, but it still applies to men too.
Right. And what I was trying to ask him was if he thought that we were saying that the value of the woman as a person, as an individual. I was wondering if he was getting that confused, and I
think he was, because that's why. Because he said dating. No, I'm gonna go back and play the video because I know that we were talking about it, but then he clarified and specifically said a woman that's out here that's single and dating isn't as valuable, and I think that's when Chisa was like, yeah. She's not as valuable
because we were talking about dating, so
right.
I'm assuming we're all in the same context there.
Bro,
but yeah,
we still spoke about the men as well. I said my man's need to get to the bag. Yeah. He wasn't quality either, and he was attracting women that wasn't quality. He was attracting what he was.
Bro, this is not that hard of a concept to grasp. Dude came in here emotional from the door. Let's just call a spade a spade. He got something going on in his life, whatever the case may be. Go deal with that, bro. That information, especially we talk about relationships all the time. Like, the difference, the context, bro. Like, nobody's up here saying that a woman is horrible if you have come on, folks. We talking about market value. And the fact is if it's 5 women in a room, one of them has a kid, they all look the same. You are not picking that one over the other 4. That's just what it is. That's just reality.
Facts.
Just like if it's 5 men in a room and one of them has no job, no income, living home with his mama. Yes, he's less valuable than the other 4 in the room. Yes. Yeah. Yes, he is from a dating perspective. And that's not that hard of a concept. Dude is emotional, and I'm going to pray for him. I don't really have nothing negative to say.
Yeah.
But the shit was hilarious, though.
Man, somebody said they was cringing watching that. Man, I couldn't even believe what I was hearing, man. The fact that he couldn't stay to have a conversation. I mean, stand on your point. Make your point. Yeah. Help us to understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are emotional. You got
frame is important,
big dog.
Yeah, man, I can't even believe what just happened, man. I'm sitting here like, man. All I heard Chisa saying, nope.
Hey, I saw where it was going. I said, man, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Like, he felt like he was on an island on his own at that point.
I just wanted to hear
specifically pointed you out, Chisa, like, and this guy right here said no.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I want to hear the perspective. I want to hear, validation, because I mean, Shan, you're right. We done ran across women that and said, they had to adjust their expectations, some of them, but we ran across women that said, I don't want to date a man, with kids.
It's a ton of women. In fact, people are advising single women with no children to not date men with children, particularly because oftentimes there's baby mama drama. Who wants to deal with baby mama drama?
Right.
Like my ex-wife will never deal with baby daddy drama.
Yeah.
Right.
Anybody she dates, anybody she gets with, we cool. You know what I'm saying? We can all go to dinner. Any woman that I ever date will never deal with no baby mama drama. And that's just the dynamic we have. That's why you saw us on the podcast. I know it's not I know it's not common what we have. And I know most people have that problem, but I don't have that problem.
Shan, how much she get you for child support again, dog?
$0 a month. $0 a month.
I
All right, y'all,
love
let's-
that.
all right, y'all, let's get back on task.
All right.
Let's get back on task. Really, we was talking about grown men and growth. Let's
Yeah.
talk about it.
You know, for me, man, I consider myself a lifelong student, man. Even at the age that I'm at, man, I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I always say, you know, I know everything about nothing, right? And that way I keep myself open to the possibilities of learning information. I've documented plenty of times on Thursday, you know, how much I've grown in these, you know, short months, just being on the platform and being exposed to different conversations and different types of information that pushes me and propels me. I carry that stuff over into my everyday work life. You know, every time JR reach out, dude, what's popping, man? I'm working. Like 12, 14-hour shifts. I'm working, right? And I'm learning and I'm growing. So I think we have to maintain that mindset. I also subscribe to the theory of the law of attraction, right? So I believe you attract who and what you qualify for. And so you know, another way of saying getting to the back for me is about investment in self. When you invest in self and becoming the best version of yourself, everything that you're trying to attract is going to come to you. It's like getting the wet with the water. If you're trying to get wet, just dab your toe in the water. You don't have to do all this crazy magic, you know, tomfoolery to try and get wet. Just get in the water. So it's the same thing. My opinion, if you investing in yourself and becoming the best version of yourself, you're going to attract who and what you need to attract to make that happen.
Yeah. All right, Chissa, what you want to say about it? I don't know if I went to you yet, right?
Yeah. The way I looked at it when I made that transition, man, was you win or you lose. Right. And time, you know, doesn't wait for you. As a man, you have to get to that point where you understand it's a dog eat dog world out here. You know, that's just what it is. And only a few people are going to sit down and talk to you and remind you that for free. And if you don't catch up, you lose. It's just that simple. It's just that simple for a lot of men out here. If you're not growing, if you're not bettering yourself, improving daily, if you're not setting goals for yourself, then you lose. And I know earlier, Shannon, you talked about how there are men out there who, I guess, don't get that they don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that. And I also think there's a good percentage of them too who are just afraid to try. You know, they're afraid. People care too much. When you really look down at why men don't want to improve any aspect of their life, whether it's starting a business, whether it's getting that degree, whether it's investing, right? You don't want to look stupid. It all comes down to caring too much about what other people think. That's what I realized the core problem is. You've first got to get rid of that inside of yourself, caring too much about what other people think, and understand that those people aren't going to be there at your funeral at the end of the day. And if you die tomorrow, we'll cry about it for the day. And in about a week, we're back on Lapeef, you know? And that sounds bad when you think about it, but it's also heartening in a certain way because it makes you think like, I don't matter that much. If I fail, you know, people try to cancel people all the time who try to do things, and, you know, you get back up. Don't be afraid to try. You have to improve as a man. Do it. Start. Get rid of that fear, you know?
I think that's what paralyzes people the most when it comes to growth is fear. And sometimes it's fear of the unknown, and then sometimes it's fear of failure. But you gotta do it regardless. You gotta continue to grow and push yourself. And Shan, I don't know if you found the magic formula. I haven't found that formula where you can instruct somebody on how to grow, right? It's like, to me, it's one of those things that either you want it or you don't. You may see something in somebody else. I think, JR, you were saying earlier, like the people around you, when they leveling up, when they growing, and then you seeing yourself stay stagnant. It's like, it's a guy I could think of right now, that the rest of the crew, everybody's out doing their thing. They leveling up. They becoming the best versions of themselves. And this one individual that everything is everybody else's fault, and still stagnant from 10, 15, 20, still the same individual. Everybody else, you know, houses, good relationship, you know, getting money, drive nice cars. you know, you still sharing the car, still sharing the car, you know what I'm saying? You know, way behind on debt. I mean, like at some point, to me, it's like it's either you want it or you don't. And I think as men, sometimes too, we don't have time to wait for you to get it. It's like it's training already pulled out.
Yeah, man. You
You
know
nailed
what?
it.
Yeah, you
Well,
know
go
what?
ahead,
I was hoping I can kind of just keep trying to big him up, man. He like one of the very few guys that I still speak with that I respect. You know, he always got my back. And it's just like I had to have a real conversation with him, man. Like every time we would go out, it would be like, man, I ain't trying to spend that. I said, man, at some point in time, man, like when we go out, I'm gonna spend about $300. You know, I just have it in my head already. I'm gonna spend about $300, and I'm gonna be cool with it. But when you're not in the position to do it, then you start to cringe on like where we going. That extra stress. But if you get into your bag, you on your purpose, you doing what you're supposed to do. When it comes time to go out, you ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to worry about women that have houses and have cars so that you can try to like leech off of them. When you got your own, they're gonna have to come to your palace. Like you're not getting upset and worried about it if she gonna have the door locked or not, because if you got your own and you have value, you're not looking at them. You're not looking to see what they're doing. And well, we're gonna talk about the rest. That's gonna be on the next topic.
Real quick. I want to give everybody a homework assignment because Rilla just mentioned fear, right? And everybody knows fear. The acronym is what? False evidence appearing real. The movie with Will Smith, 2013-14, called After Earth. You guys ever remember that movie? Go watch the movie with Will Smith. It's called After Earth. It's a movie with him and his son in it at the same time. It's the second movie he made with his son. And it speaks about fear. The whole movie's about fear. And so that's real talk that you said, Rilla, about one of the biggest drawbacks or one of the things that hold a lot of people back is fear. When fear is not a real thing, unless you make it real, you have to. But reality is all fear is really in your mind. You know, when the lights are out and it's dark, it's the boogeyman is not really there, but you're so scared because it's dark because you're not used to that. That's what fear is. And another thing is that a doctor mentioned to me about change. I know this is the last topic on this, JR. A doctor told me for most adults, for most people 30 and up, change only comes when a calamity in your life happens. So we'll use fitness as an example. I'm in the gym very often. Oftentimes when I see people that's like kind of morbidly obese or really big in the gym, when I go ask them, I say, what got you started on your journey? They tell me that the doctor told them that if they don't do something about their health, they're probably going to die in 6 months. Oftentimes, in order for people to change, it requires for adults to change. That's why it's really good for us to concentrate on our children, because they can make changes, or young people, especially people in their 20s, because they can make changes and it's not really hard. When you're in your 30s, it's kind of like you set in your ways, unless some calamity or somebody tells you or something tragic is about to happen or has happened. If something has happened in your life, then oftentimes people make a big change in their life. In like fitness as an example, if you get a doctor that tells you, man, you got cholesterol, or maybe you go in because you had a stroke, or maybe you had high blood pressure and now you're on meds, suddenly you all of a sudden start eating well, even though people have been telling you to do that for years. You just ignored it and didn't think it applied to you until you get diagnosed with lung cancer and suddenly you decide to stop smoking. So just remember, don't allow some calamity in your life or some tragic event to happen for you to start doing what you know that you should be doing anyway, fellas, since we're talking about men who can't seem to change.
I'll tell you another thing is like a big block as far as growth in terms of men is survivor's remorse. I know that I dealt with that a lot. When you leave your neighborhood and you like the first person that then went to college and graduated, and you even though you advancing and you're accomplishing things, you feel a sense of guilt because you want to bring everybody with you. You know what I'm saying? When I was on my block, I used to have 10 to 12 people at my crib every day. They was all my friends. We was all peers, couple older, couple younger, whatever the case may be. But the plan was always, we going to make it. We going to do this. We going to have this money. We going to drive these cars. We going to do this. But as life goes on, people start dropping off. And then, you start to feel a sense of guilt for that. Even though it's not, anything that you could really do about it. I mean, you could kind of take somebody to the water, but you can't make them drink, like the old saying says. You know, they don't have your work ethic, they don't have your vision or whatever the case may be, but you take it like it's your responsibility to do. And I feel like that prohibits a lot of dudes from growing because they would rather keep it real than to risk the unknown and go out there and try to accomplish something different.
Keep it 100.
Right.
Yeah, right.
If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to King's Talk on the Lapeef Network. Make sure you guys get them likes up. Also, subscribe to the channel. We're going to move on to final topic before we open up the phone lines, which is maintaining your masculine frame. Maintaining your masculine frame. This is another important topic, and the reason I brought this up is because I do have another friend that's married, and I speak with him often about even through marriage, you have to maintain that masculine frame. I think it's kind of like one of those things that if you don't, then the woman is going to try to one-up you, or she's going to lose respect for you. If you guys wonder why, and this may just be sometimes, like some women will entertain other things outside of you. Like when she feels as though you're not on your purpose, when she feels as though you're not leading the house correctly, when she feels as though that she can overtalk you, that she can, set the ground rules. If she gets any indication that she wears the pants, you're losing that frame. And so I think it's very important for you to maintain frame throughout that bond. So let's talk about it. I'm gonna start with you, Chisholm.
Yeah, really important conversation, man. I'll say the number one thing when it comes to frame that I've realized a lot of men today don't understand when it comes to women is you have to understand that your woman is not your friend, right? I think that's a good place to start. There's a difference there, joking around the way you joke around with your fellow men who you hang out with should not be the same way you joke around with your woman. That's where I start out with. And once you have that first understood, because a lot of guys think that, you can be goofy around your woman and she's not going to take you seriously at the end of the day if she looks at you as somebody who's a little bit too playful. So there's a certain level of maturity that you have to keep constant with the significant other that you're dealing with. I'll stop right there.
I think you made a great point. That's a good way to look at it. What about you, Shane? Maintaining a masculine frame throughout the bond.
Well, do we ever get to turn it off?
No. And it's going to come out, but you got to let it be, come out on its own, because, your natural self is you wanting to treat her like she's your friend, because, today's society tells us there's no difference. Your girl should be your best friend, and, find your best friend, find your soulmate. That's the lie that we're told. And women don't really respect guys who don't know how to conduct themselves in that masculine frame type of way.
Well, the thing is, from boyhood, we're still taught maintain it one way or the other. The masculinity for, maintaining the masculine frame in your relationship, at work, whether you're single, whether you're married, it doesn't matter. Men don't get an opportunity to turn their masculinity. There's no, I learned the term conditional femininity from Kevin Samuels and from Trill on the Crew season. And I knew the concept, right? But I never really put words together until I heard conditional femininity and how terrible a concept that is, right? Because women should be feminine at all times. But have you ever heard of conditional masculinity? Is it a situation where you can get with a woman and then you tell her, well, you don't let me rest in my divine masculinity. I need you to be more, and until you give me the space to be more masculine, I won't be. You don't hear that from men. You'll never hear that from men. Men need to be masculine at all times, in and out of a relationship and throughout the bond as well. So we don't turn off masculinity. In fact, we promote it at all times, 24/7, 365 days a year. It's necessary. And that's what I teach. I like masculinity. I don't even believe in the word toxic masculinity. So I don't think there's such a thing as toxic masculinity, but I get pushback on that. And we can talk about that another day. But maintaining your masculine frame throughout the entire bond is a requirement. And I think it should be established early on in the relationship with somebody. It shouldn't be something that you suddenly pick up later on. It should have been established the day you met anybody, especially somebody that you consider and going the long haul with.
So Shane, if you don't establish in the beginning, what happens?
Well, I tell people all the time, there's 3 types of relationships. You got a masculine man and a feminine woman. Those generally last forever. You got a masculine man and a masculine woman. And in those relationships, it's going to be a problem because everybody's trying to be the boss. And that's not going to, it may last a little bit, but those are usually short-term lived. And then you have a masculine woman and a feminine man, right? Those are generally where the woman is leading the household and the guy is kind of like a beta type guy. He's just listening at his woman and doing whatever she says. The problem is, if he didn't establish that masculinity early on, and now he's just kind of simping through the relationship, she's not going to respect him after a while. It may go for a year, may go for 5. But after a while, she's going to be like, yo, her natural instincts is going to kick in, and women want to be led. And when she realizes her man is this beta guy who never established any masculinity in the relationship, that's going to be short-lived. Masculine men, feminine women. That's the way it works. Those are the ones that go long-term. Even when you thought grandma was tough, she was tough with the grandkids. She wasn't tough with grandpa. Behind closed doors, grandma and grandpa that lasted 50, 60 years, granddad was the masculine man that you've always known him to be. And so if you don't establish that early, to your question, JR, your relationship is doomed from the beginning. And so, fellas, if you're single out there now, you need to, if you and you're not masculine, you need to find it. You better figure it out if you want to get into a relationship with a woman and want it to last and be something of meaning, a meaningful long-term relationship. That's what's required in my humble opinion.
All right. What you got for me, Rilla? Maintaining your masculine frame.
Yeah, throughout the relationship. Man, it's funny because when you said what happens when you don't do it, and I remember being younger in early relationship, because I'm not gonna sit up here in front like I was taught to be masculine. I was raised to be a manly man or anything like that, right? I mean, I saw my granddad, I saw my uncles, but I had to learn, right? I had to learn. Part of where I learned it, and this is why I love staying in Atlanta. The church that I went to, going to men's fellowship and having real out and open conversations about real subjects. But I want to, because I know we throw terms around, so I want to add context for people who may not understand exactly what we're saying when we talk about maintaining the masculine frame. So here's some masculine traits. And this, my idea of being masculine or being a man, period, is being prophet, priest, king of your home. So all this ties in. Some of the traits include strength, courage, independence, leadership, and assertiveness. So when Shannon was talking about, can we ever turn it off? When you focus on these traits and developing these traits, accentuating these traits, you'll discover there's no way you can turn that off, right? And you can't. It's like, and then what you'll also find is that it amplifies the woman's femininity. Right, she's gonna rest in the strength of a man, right? The man that's assertive and leading the house is prophet, priest, and king. She can trust where we're going, right? She trusts where we're going because you've laid out the blueprint, you've laid out the vision, right? You're leading the charge, right? So throughout that relationship, man, I just, that part where you talked about, JR, like if you don't establish it, and Shan, you responded, was spot on, man. If you don't establish that out the gate, I don't know that there's a way for you to recover, right? Because not only is she not respecting you, she's resenting you. Because think about it, you're starting to become more assertive. You're starting to express your strength. You're starting to, express leadership. And she's like, "This not where's the representative you sent before? That's who I was rocking with," right? So it's like in those relationships that I was in, and I wasn't on my square, man, that it did not end well. Right. And that's why I say I'm doing things with the woman that I'm with now. I do things a lot different, man. It's much better on this side. Yeah,
it definitely is. And you gotta kind of switch things up a little bit too, man. If you're gonna lead, you gotta let it be known. Like for me, I've had conversation with guys, and I tell them, man, you don't have to open up the door for a woman. You can lead by walking through the door. You can kind of grab her hand a little bit and lead her through the door. So I don't think that you have to per se be this Prince Charming. Sometimes don't open the door for her ass. Don't open the door for her at all. Let her walk around.
Hey, Jai, you sound like you hard bottom pimping,
Yeah.
man.
No,
You, you with the
real talk.
pimping.
Real talk. Real talk. You ain't got to open up the door every single time.
That's facts.
You know, shit, just let her walk around, and then if you feel like you want to do it, then you do it. Like, you're the one that's in control.
I don't know.
I had a chick that asked me if I could open her door, because when I pulled up to pick her up, she said, "Hey, how come you didn't come out to open my door so I get in the car?" I said, "Well, I don't open doors." And she was sitting there and she just was quiet like the whole ride. And I said, "Hey, I will open the door if you need me to, you know, because if she has stuff in her hands and she actually needs me to open the door, then I have no problem opening the door." But the problem with the open the door thing is some women today will take that as some sort of belittlement. You know, I've seen it happen, you know, and they'll think that like, oh, I've opened door for people. And I've actually had women say to me, "Oh, I can open my own door. Thank you." And I said, "Okay, well, that's the last time that happens." You know, and then I adjusted, but it doesn't mean I never open it ever. But, you know, the situation has to call for it.
Let me
Yeah, I
say
think,
this real quick. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trill. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I think all masculinity is, at the end of the day, is just a man having structure. I speak about this all the time. Like, women respect structure. Women respect a man that has a plan. And to be honest, when we growing up from young, we taught how to pull women. We not necessarily taught how to lead them. You taught how to pull them, have sex, whatever the case may be. But in terms of being a husband, in terms of running a family, leading a family, you gotta have a plan for where you want this legacy to go. What traditions y'all gonna have? What type of code that we gonna have in this family? Yeah, we gonna eat dinner at this table every night at 8 p.m. Like that type of plan, that type of structure. Any woman, you know, that's I guess a respectable woman. I don't want to say no, you know, names, whatever. Any woman that's a respectable woman, she's gonna respect that, and she's gonna, I don't want to say bow to it, but she's gonna go along with the program. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of men don't have that. So instead, the woman ends up taking on the masculine role. Like, the man may feel like he running things because I make more money and I do this and that. But if you don't have a plan or don't have a structure, that means that she's creating it. And you just trying to quote unquote please her. Happy wife, happy life, which is why I hate that saying so much. Because that means that you are not in control at this point. It's supposed to be happy spouse, happy house. That's what the saying is supposed to be. But a lot of men are, again, raised under these, you know, guidelines or whatever. And then when he get older and he don't have no structure, no code, or, you know, no masculinity, then you look at him like, damn, like, well, you know, you're not a man. Well, I mean, he wasn't taught. So a lot of men got to learn that on the fly. So that's why I think platforms like this is dope, to where, you know, as men listening to this, not only young, this man in their 30s and 40s that still don't have no structure, still don't have no leadership capabilities. But them watching this, they're going to be able to say, okay, well, damn, I need to work on that. I need to establish me a plan. I need to establish me some tradition. So that's why I think situations like this is dope. But hell yeah, maintaining masculinity is overly important in terms of the survival of the relationship.
Yeah, and I don't think guys understand, man, how moist she gets, man. I mean, even your wives, like when you in that masculine energy, your wife gets extra moist. I'm just saying.
Facts.
You know, like I was having this conversation with my guy, and one thing I told him is that, like, when you know who you are as a man, you don't have to chase women, right? You don't even have to say that there's a label, so to speak, right? When a woman gravitates to you, it don't really matter. You don't have to question her, because it don't really matter what they got going on. If she likes you, she gonna come to you. You don't have to be worried about who's in her DMs, who's calling her phone, you know, who she with, you know, who she dip off with. I was just having this conversation yesterday, and I told my guy, if you was on your bag, on your purpose, she gonna be trying to figure out what you got going on. So it's very important. That's part of maintaining your masculine frame. You don't ask no questions. You just do you.
And real quick, Jay, a lot of men feel like women are attracted to just the money alone. It's not the money alone. It's the drive to go get it is what she's attracted to. Just like you just said, a man that's in his purpose, man that's pursuing his career, a man that's dedicated and, you know, willing to sacrifice damn near anything to win, to go be successful. Those type of men typically have money. Because, you know what I'm saying? So those are the traits that the women are attracted to. So you see guys that get money overnight or whatever the case may be. They may be able to pull something, but they're not able to keep her. Them chicks is there for a lick. They there using them for his bags, using them for his whatever, driving his cars, doing all kind of shit. But she not gonna settle. She gonna go settle with eventually a dude working, you know what I'm saying, that own his own small construction company or somewhere that ain't even on the grid like that. That's who she gonna settle and have a family with, because he has drive, he done showcase structures and different things like that. So it's not just the money, bro. It's the plan that the women are attracted to. I just wanted to say that. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, and then also too, real quick. Also too, you gotta understand that works. It's the same thing for short term as well. It's the same thing for short term. And I give an example. Sure, you just spoke on long term thinking when it comes to like marriage and settling down and all that stuff. But I used to ride motorcycles, right? And we used to be around a lot of women. You can always get a woman on your bike, right? But then if you had to know how to keep on your bike, she could right there in that moment, she can understand in that moment if she want to stay on your bike or not. If you ain't talking about shit, you ain't making it fun, you ain't entertaining, if she get any type of indication that you weak or that you asking the wrong questions, she gonna go hop on your man's bike and you're gonna be looking at that ass. And that's real talk. So
Dang.
even short term, you gotta remain in masculine frame. Women pick up on that shit. When you walk into the gym, you should have your head up high. You should walk around like you own that motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Because when you walk in there, you could be the fattest, sloppiest motherfucker in there. The woman gonna pick up on that confidence. She's gonna pick up on that masculine frame. You know how many weak motherfuckers walking around here every day? I see them all the time. We just had a weak motherfucking get off here. Couldn't even have a conversation. They pick up on that shit. It's very important that you maintain that masculine frame. And I'm telling you, even if you marry, you can't slack. You got to keep pushing through that, man. You got to show up to be a man. Even in your sleep, you should be a man. You should be snoring differently.
Just to back you up real quick, man. I've been want to say this. A big fundamental part of maintaining frame is being able to have difficult conversations and deal with difficult situations without getting emotionally involved. This is probably in top 3, right? Because if a woman will always test you, whether she knows she's doing this or she's not. And if she knows she can get to you and move you over into that feminine energy, that's the loud, emotional, raising your voice, easily triggered frame, then, that attraction with her will drop. But if she knows that she can't shake you off your center, then you maintain that attraction, right? It's a good thing. It's a maintaining frame is a situation happens, a difficult conversation comes, and you're the one that says, hey, let's talk about this when we're both relaxed. Let's talk about this when we can both talk to each other like we're some grown-ups. And women find that attractive. And if you can do that, you maintain frame. Now, if you match her, now you have 2 feminine people in the same space. They say the houses with the homes with the largest rate of domestic violence are lesbian couples. Now, I personally think that's because you've got 2 people who highly embrace their feminine, well, they still have their feminine energy, right, to a certain extent. But it's very important, man. Very, very important.
And I want to circle back on something. And since you talk about mature conversations, Chissa, you mentioned something that bothered me a little bit, and I want to talk to you about it. You mentioned that you don't open doors for women. It's not that you don't open doors for women that bothers me. Here's the thing, and I might be wrong. Correct me. It sounded like you said you don't open doors for women because of the reaction that you got from women. And the issue that I'm having with that is that it seems like you changed your behavior based on some chick. Now, if you don't open doors for women because you just don't open doors for women, that's cool. If you open doors for women, but now you don't because of a woman, that's not cool. And so what I want to, so I could be off. You know what I'm saying? I'm not above correction, but I do not want you. And if that was the case, I want you to, from today forward, make sure that you be who you are. I would rather have you because I believe chivalry is cool. I don't mind opening doors for women. I think that's fine. But I will never let a woman who feels that she's being slighted or I don't need you to do that, or she's so independent that she can't. I let her know, well, that's what I do. I open doors for women. And if you have a problem with that, then we don't need to go on a date. That's what I would rather you do instead of saying, okay, well, then I'm just not going to open no more doors. I think that's what you mentioned. You said, well, I'm not going to do that again. No, I want you to continue doing that. And don't let some chick that gave you a bad experience or who felt that in her masculine energy make you change how you treat the future ladies in your life. Because if you are a door opener from the beginning and that's how you are internally, then I want you to maintain that. Don't let nobody change you in your fundamental behaviors because some past experiences. Be who you're supposed to be and who you are, and let the women adjust to you. If they don't like the fact that you open doors, then she can kick rocks.
Let me just clarify my statement, because I did make it sound like I never open doors. I do open doors, right? If the situation calls for it. Okay. But I don't open doors the same way I don't take women out on expensive dates, right? The first time I meet them, because they have to earn that good treatment to me.
Okay.
I'm adjusting with the current dating market. In the past, if you showed up to a date, in the past, if you showed up to a date with chocolate and flowers and did extravagant things for women in the past, you'd have gotten somewhere. But I don't believe you get anywhere doing that right off the rip today.
But
so that's where that comes from.
But see, this is leaning back to what Shed just said, right? Because again, I'm gonna ask you a question: do you take yourself on expensive dates?
Not too much, but I do once in a while, but not too often. I cook from home a lot of times.
Okay.
But if you're saying I'm adjusting what I enjoy based on the female, you're absolutely correct.
Right.
Yes. I don't.
That usually don't work long term.
Let me say this. I think also you got to remember this. If I'm going out on dates 3 to 4 times, let's say, in a month, right? Mm-hmm. For somebody who's going on multiple dates, mm-hmm. and for me personally, I'm not going to spend $50 to $100 for 5 chicks within a month. I'm going to wait to see who's just there for the free meal. They exist.
That's $1,000.
I'm going to wait to see if you're not crazy. They exist, right? I'm going to wait to see who has good manners. They exist. And the second date is usually better than the first. It gets better, right? It's not just not this cold-blooded person the whole way through. It gets better, but you got to earn it. I'm not going to do it the first time. And the doors too, you know what I mean? And that's just my own.
All right, I got you, boss. I got you. I just don't want you to. I want you to behave how you behave and make sure everybody else gets on Chiss's program. That's what I want you to do.
For sure, yeah.
Because if chocolates and if a box of chocolates and flowers don't work for today, but that's how you rock, then everybody today should get chocolate and flowers because that's how you rock. And if somebody's laughing at that, then she ain't the one for you. That's all I wanted to put out there for you, big dog.
Boy, it's hard out there for y'all right now dating, huh?
Yeah, man. Chocolates and flowers. Man.
Well, I mean, it's boo thing. We gonna get married tomorrow, man.
No, ace out. Get off the game. I'll be telling my boys all the time. Retire,
get out that rat race. Get out that rat race.
Ain't nothing out here, man. Ain't nothing out here.
They're different, man. You got to be strategic. You got to vet, and you got to, give it to the ones that earn it. You know what I mean? There's these TikTok videos, all these chicks going on 4 dates in one day, right? Showing off the receipts and saying, "Oh yeah, look, I got this guy and this guy." And you're not going to get me on the first date. We're gonna go to coffee.
You know what I find interesting about? See, that's I'm curious to know honestly how much of the population do you think some of these social media content creators, like how much do they reflect the general population? Like, do you think there's an overwhelming majority of chicks that's really just out here doing 4 dates in one day, or do you think there's some quality women out here that's, you know what I'm saying, I don't know, working or taking care of their kids or whatever? I just find that oddly curious. I saw that one of those videos I saw where the girl went on 4 dates in one day, and I'm like, I don't know many chicks that's doing it like that.
I was in a date last night.
Mm-hmm.
The chick told me she does that all the time. She say, "Oh yeah, I've been on like 4 dates," and
in one day or 1 week.
No, not in running one day.
Okay,
I think it was like a week or something like that, and I said, how much do these guys usually spend? She's like, some of them spend like hundreds of dollars. But she says some of them are just because I'm in LA, some of them are just visiting in LA for a little bit and they're trying to, have fun. So I guess maybe they're desperate.
LA is different. Y'all are different out there. Y'all are different out there, man.
Definitely a different vibe.
Yeah,
but
I'll be thinking about it a lot though. I'll be thinking like if I was single, now how I would move. And I think like I don't know if I would even schedule dates. It would be a situation where it's like, okay, I'm hungry, I'm going out to eat, and whoever's texting me at the time, or whatever the case may be, okay, pull up type of situation. But as far as like 4 to 5 dates a week, that just seemed ridiculous to me. I don't know. I would tone it all the way back, slow that all the way down. Because to be honest, like if we're gonna keep it G on this panel, most women are not requiring you to take them out anyway. Let's just call it a spade a spade. Most chicks are willing to just pull up right to the crib, right out the gate, especially with social media. Like, again, I can go on my DMs right now and close my eyes, scan, and stop and pick a chick. And it's a good chance if I say, hey, man, I'm saying I got the hookah at the crib, whatever, a little liquor. Hey, man, come through. Man, it's like a good chance that she gonna come through. So I say that to say like most chicks are not requiring dates if we're gonna keep it real.
Yeah, that's true, man. But I'm thinking these women out here crazy now, man. You can't be inviting everybody.
They require dates.
Yeah, now something that I did hear, like male strategies say is that, man, you don't take women on dates. Like the first date is always they'll get some drinks. They don't even make it to get no dinner. You got to see what they're talking about first. And I was like, that made a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Take them to get some drinks, some small, some y'all both can enjoy, because not every woman is worthy. I went on a date where a woman didn't have no money at all. She just knew I was paying. And I'm sitting here like, wow, damn, so young, huh?
Women sometimes just go on dates to eat, right? Or they'll just go to have a good time. For me, I'm not just trying to have a good time. If I'm going on a date, we have a destination to get to, you know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, I've got to keep my investments low.
Yeah,
and
if Found Town.
Exactly. But you see, for a lot of guys out there, they can't wait to just spend 30 minutes with the girl and go back and forth. And that just doesn't excite me, and I'm not looking for a wife right now. So, I'm going to keep.
Saying you a fool, man. He said destination
Pound Town.
Yeah, he put it on he put it in the navigation system.
All right, so I'm gonna start bringing people on, y'all. Definitely appreciate the support, all the super chats. Make sure I get them likes up. Got the link in the description. Just refresh, and it'll be right there. Click the link to come on up. We got some people already waiting already. What's going on? Is it Hego?
Yeah, Hego. What's going on, y'all?
What up, bro?
Hego?
All right. So I wanted to ask a question. So, we talk about structure a lot, but what does structure look like for y'all?
Comfortability. A plan, like I said, having your own.
All right, so let me give context real quick, like as far as like family structure I meant, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, in that case, again, like I believe in like establishing your own traditions. I think a lot of the mistakes people make when they get into relationships is trying to emulate some shit they seen growing up or whatever the case may be. I think your traditions and your structure, as far as like how you gonna run your family, should be established by you and you only. So again, an example I gave earlier is like for me and my family, like when my daughter get a little bit older, we're gonna eat dinner at the table together every night at 7. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, I didn't have that. Like we was eating dinner all over the place. I had my dinner in the room, Pop's dinner in the kitchen. Like it was all over the place. But I want my situation to run like that. So I'm gonna start implementing that. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do, you know what I'm saying? It's just gonna like date nights 3 times a month guaranteed, or 2 times a month guaranteed every other Saturday. Like if my wife's in the church 2 times a month, you know what I'm saying? They can go every Sunday. I ain't going every Sunday, but they can go every Sunday. Like that type of situation. You know what I'm saying? To where it's like, okay, this is a structured family situation. This is how we running this. Holidays is spent at my crib, or holidays is spent at Aunt Josephine crib. Just whatever, but it's structured. That's what I mean by that.
I mean, I asked the question because what I find a lot is that in Black families, we really don't have a structure for progress. So in terms of, we'll plan for the holidays, or we'll plan on, I think we personally plan as men, we plan our lives, but we're not intentional with our families. So for instance, we don't schedule or we don't work on goals together. You know what I'm saying? We don't, we may call or sit down for dinner, or we may get down for the barbecue, but we won't get down for, putting together money for real estate, or, what I'm saying, coming together. I could say on an accountability structure every 7 days in terms of what are we going to do? You know what I'm saying? So, what I talk about on my channel a lot is, getting together with the family and actually speaking these goals, and, making like a 7 day structure and going around the group, even with the young kids, what do you want to accomplish the next 7 days? Um, Even with the wife, all right, what is the objective? What are we trying to conquer or take care of within these next 7 days? And I think what happens when you do stuff like this is that, say you got the husband and wife, and you maybe got 2 kids and maybe a cousin in the house. But when you intentional and you speak this in a meeting like setting, and you say, all right, we're gonna meet at 8 o'clock, it tends to put the pressure of performance on the family to actually do things that do well for the family. You know what I'm saying? So even you as a man, if you come to the group and you say within the next 7 days, I intend to, I don't know, do some maintenance at the house, or either put some money up to take care of something, or maybe, I don't know, get a certification or sign up for a certain class to move the family forward. Once you verbalize this in front of the family, it makes you accountable to actually completing that goal. And I think we need to be more intentional about creating structures like that, which are much more performative than, just the typical everyday. Because you really get lost into habitual behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and it really doesn't bring anything. And I think it's a lot more masculine of a task than typically just being around the house and taking care of things, because now you're setting goals for the people in your family. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's a question for you. Higo, are you married?
No, I've had several long relationships. So we talking
Okay.
about over 4 years for both, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think when you do get married, if you plan on getting married, then you're gonna do fairly well. And the reason why is because most people, I think one problem is a lot of people plan for the wedding and they don't plan for the marriage. So a lot of the stuff that you're talking about, people don't have, especially young couples, don't even have that conversation before they get married. They're so caught up in the butterflies, and they're so caught up in the honeymoon stage, and then they get into the marriage, and now they're finally husband and wife, and then they try to figure it out as they go along. Right. And what you're speaking to is like, no, we're gonna have this conversation way before we even get that far. So I think you're gonna do fairly well whenever you do get married. I failed at that. Everything that you're talking about, all that planning, I didn't do prior to getting married. If I ever get married again, I'll make sure I have that conversation this time. But the time before, I didn't do that. And so another issue, though, Higo, is like in the Black community you spoke of particularly, is it's more of a gynocracy. So you got a lot of women that's running their households these days. And so when you got a guy that wants to try to put in some kind of structure, is it a situation where a lot of men are having his wife even jump on the plan or program that he's trying to put in place that's going to eradicate poverty out of his lineage and make the household grow up and be bigger? Or is there a lot of friction and a lot of masculinity and a lot of headbutting, and he wants to go left and she wants to go right, and now they're not going anywhere? That's another issue that we're having in our community, where there's not, and that's why men are talking about submissiveness, and we want women who's fit friendly, faithful, and fun. And the friendly side is the cooperative side. Men want cooperation from our women. Black men particularly, are we getting that cooperation from our women? Because the things that you're talking about requires cooperation from the woman, especially if you set a plan in action, and she has to believe that you're going to make that your plan is going to be something that's going to happen or is going to come to fruition. But I don't think that's happening that often these days, man. And that's
this is the thing with this, and doing like an accountability type group within the family is something that will highlight people like that. Because if you come to group and you as the man should be planning this, and you don't even have to be with your wife, technically it could be with your cousins, your uncles, all the men of the family first, and then y'all can add the ladies. You know what I'm saying? And it creates a structure for what we about to do. So you really don't have to add them. But when you do add them, right, you can blatantly see who's the problem. Because every 7 days, if that woman's coming across and she's had a goal that y'all all specifically spoke on, taken care of within those 7 days, and the kids will start noticing, whoa, and you don't have to get into a deep conversation during it. It's just like, okay, well, did we take care of this within the 7 days or not? Yeah. And the kids will start saying, well, damn, mom didn't take care of that.
Yeah, the group project. Why you never coming with your part of the group project?
Right. And then it becomes so much more apparent to everybody in the family instead of these side discussions where the mother's able to manipulate the conversation to make it seem like you're wrong. But when there's that family meeting, it's almost corporate in nature where it's like, we're going to talk about the concise goal and then we're going to finish the shit up in 40 minutes. But then after the 40 minutes, you start realizing the weak links, right? And trust, I understand, it's hard, it's very hard. But when you create a structure like that, you become to, first of all, you become accountable to each other, because the stated goals, you're just at the end of it. It's like, okay, so do you need help with that? You know what I'm saying? It's not that you kick anybody out, right? But once you state that concise goal at that concise time, like everything becomes so apparent to the family at hand. And I just think even if you do not have a family, if you know it's a group of 3 or 4 y'all that's cousins that's always getting down, it's like, all right, forget the females of the family. What are we doing? Let's put this money together. Every 7 days, let's put 200. Let's put 2,000 at the end of the month. Let's put 20,000 at the end of 6 months. Whatever y'all can do. I think just doing it and taking away the ladies first is a dope idea, So I just wanted to mention that and bring that up, just to put the idea in a lot of people's heads.
I'll tell you what the first step is in doing that is we got to all get financially literate. I think that's what the issue with it is, man. Just like I talked about, people taking blueprints from what they seen growing up. A lot of us is the first in our family to graduate college. A lot of us grew up in a household that lived check to check. So we really the first ones finding it out. And man, you know how hard that shit is to go back to your neighborhood and say, hey, bro, you need to take this money and invest in this because this is going to do this and this is going to do that. They're going to look at you like, hell no, I ain't doing that with my money. Because this is, livelihood money. This is rent money. This is car note money. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to get that message across. I ain't saying nothing you saying is wrong. You 1,000% right. Yeah. That's how we turn it around right there, what you saying. But I think all of us
hold on. We gotta move on. We got some other people to get on.
All right, cool. All right, good speaking to y'all though.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, peace.
All right, before you guys come on, make sure y'all keep it brief, man, so we can get the other people in. What's going on here,
fellas? What's the word on the curve, fellas?
What up?
I like what y'all got going on, man. I really, really do, man. I hit white, black, I hit all the guys at the job, man. Say, hey, y'all, check this out, man. I like what you're doing. Lapeef. I just want to add, a little bit because my growing up was a little different, and some of the stuff I had to do, it was on the fly. I grew up in like foster care, and I was fortunate enough to be adopted, right, with 3 other siblings. It was 10 of us total, but we were split up, and I was fortunate enough to be adopted by a couple people who I call my parents that were old enough to be my grandparents. So they were like born in like the 20s. So they was old school. They was stuff they experienced it was unspeakable almost. But I was emancipated legally even at the age of 16. But if I didn't work, I didn't eat. I had 2 jobs in high school. So in reference to what certain things looked like, I always had to revert back to those years that my dad, who grew up in rural West Virginia, served in Korea, and my mother, who was born in the 1920s, who, when she was a toddler, she was a mat. You all know what a mat is?
No.
A mat is a toddler, because she used to pick cotton. Her mother worked in the house. Her other siblings did house duties or worked in the field. When she was a toddler, she would either lay on her back or lay on her stomach. So when the white plantation owner came out, he would put her feet on her stomach so his bare feet wouldn't touch the ground on like summer or fall nights.
Yeah, I saw the photos of that.
She experienced that. She told me about that. Her back and her hands told that story. But from that, she moved to Maryland, moved her family to Maryland from Georgia. And again, through those times, I mean, some of the stuff she, you know, would share with us were just horrific. And I say that because I kind of, when she would discipline us, she was the main disciplinarian. She was very hard. I mean, she was very hard, man. She would, when I say spare the rod, spoil the child, she took that kind of too hard. I'm like, you know, is it me you beat me for, or is it something else? You know what I mean? It was just real. It was just, I thought it was kind of extra. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, my siblings and I, we didn't have the same experience. But kind of bringing it up to the future, and again, still grabbing information and grabbing things, and, you know, going to high school, putting myself through school, leaving there, then going to the Navy, again, picking up different things and what I feel I can use to better myself, to be this man and this masculine, you know, whatever that means to, you know, whatever that would mean to me. And then now I have my son. So I say all that because, you know, you're picking up certain things. And one of the things that actually helped hone me as I am today is my son. And I'm thankful for that. I have older daughters. They taught me a lot too, especially my older daughter, you know, and the stuff I picked up on with her. And first, with my older daughter, one of the things I thought was fascinating
keep it brief, Henry.
I keep breaking up.
I said we got to make sure we keep it brief.
No problem.
All right.
Is how she, in a sense, gave the impression on people around her on how they treated me and my son when, you know, he was, you know, diagnosed with, you know, mild autism, and the fact that he was a great teacher in that. And I thank God that I'm blessed to be a student in that regard. You know what I mean? I think that's where the true blessing was, that I was able to really learn the true meaning of understanding, respect, loved, you know, to really, you know, be open enough to get that message, and actually then share some things with him, and him then grasp and say he understands it. So, and then my wife, I mean, she's been great in helping me through that journey as well, because initially I didn't take it well. So again, you know, going back to those different tips and tools, you know, I learned a lot. But the question I have, and I want to share a story real quick, is that oftentimes, you know, there's so many definitions, especially in our culture, and they change often on what masculinity is. I was recently in a barbershop, and oftentimes you have the old heads telling the young heads, you know, we spitting game to you. But I was in a barbershop, and I was sitting there. It was pretty crowded.
You got to keep it brief, Henry.
Got you. And anyway, a young guy came in, and he was going around asking, okay, you know, when can I be next? So, you know, a lot of people brushed him off. He saw an African guy. He said, "Parlez-vous français?" So then, you know, he was at a disregard.
Okay.
He was at a disregard. So they, you know, he left. So after he left, they was joking him. They was laughing at him. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I thought that was pretty interesting. It's more to that story, but I don't want to be long. So that's pretty much that. Y'all have a great evening again. I like what you guys are doing.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I definitely appreciate the support, Henry.
Y'all
Thanks
blessed,
again.
Man.
All right.
Bye.
See you, Henry.
When you guys come on, make sure y'all keep it brief.
JR.
Like 2 minutes. What?
You a trip, man.
2 minute max. 2 minute max, you guys. 2 minute max. If you guys got these long stories, might be an after hours, we'll see, but I want to make sure I get the people that's waiting. It's just a respect thing. I want to make sure I try to get everybody. I don't want nobody dozing off on the platform. Can't have that. All right. It's the Quinn. What's going on, brother?
All right. Good evening, gentlemen. Men's Talk. I'm sorry. King Talk.
Yeah, you got to get it right. Come on,
That's
Quinn.
Right. That's right.
Right.
So I wanted to discuss real quick the men's growth piece. So when it comes to growth, there's something that often holds us back, and that's fear. And I'm sure we're all familiar with the fear of failure, because that was brought up earlier. But what about the fear of success? The fear that what I actually did is going to work. Because as we all know, success is often dressed in dressed in overalls or khakis, and it looks like hard work. And that hard work becomes our new baseline. Like in weight training, it becomes your new working set. So I wanted to understand, or at least ask you gentlemen, what the fear of success has looked like in your lives.
I don't. I mean, life is about taking risk. You
Mhm.
asking me, it's just about just what type of risk it is, right? So when it comes to success, and particularly, I just analyze it, man. If it look like it's gonna be good or had the potential of it, I'm gonna try it because we only got one time to get this thing right. You know, you only get one life, so I rather know that I tried it versus me not trying it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that risk. I do it all the time on the network.
Wonderful.
I take
All
a
right.
bunch of risk, and if it fails, guess what? We just adjust,
Mhm.
switch it up, and try something different. Try it again.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna say I think the main fear of success, in my opinion, is the expectation that comes with it. You got newfound expectation now. Like before you was winning, before you had money, nobody really expected nothing from you. You could kind of just go through life and just do as you please. But when you get money, now comes the expectation. Everybody got their hand out. People expecting you to maintain this new lifestyle that you have now. You done went and bought this big house. Now I got a higher mortgage to pay. You done went and bought this big car. Now I got more car notes to pay. My friends expecting me to put them in position. My mom was expecting me to buy a crib. My dad's expecting me to buy. So it's expectations that come with maintaining it that damn near terrifies people from even trying. Even people that know that they could do it, know that they could win. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody can't handle that. Like we done seen a lot of
Okay, no
people that done
problem.
got a lot of money and lost it like that because they folded. They didn't know how to say no. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think the biggest fear of winning is the expectation.
Hey, Rilla, do you know anybody out your way who sabotages their own success? And what I mean by that is I know quite a few brothers here that I grew up with who has never gotten past a certain level in the socioeconomic scale simply because whenever they got close to winning, they found a way to ruin it. I've watched people take a monkey wrench and throw it in their own work program simply because things was getting too good. And I think that could be trauma. It could be trauma. It could be because they from the hood. It could be because maybe all they know is a poverty mindset. All they know is a ghetto mindset. And anything that takes them away from that poverty ghetto mindset into prosperity is scary for them. And so they find a way to piss off to get fired. They find a way to get fired. You know, I know people who seems to always break their cell phones. I know people who can't keep a cell phone number longer than 6 months, and every 6 months they got a new phone number. It's like I've had the same number for 20 years, but some people can't keep a phone number longer than a year. Some people ruin their own prosperity and don't even know they're doing it simply because, as Mr. Quentin says, they're afraid of success because, as Trill said, success requires more responsibility, and they don't want that. It's cool. I'd rather squander down here in the hood, in the ghetto, and just always be barely making it. Always have just enough money to get a burger, maybe get a cheeseburger, and that's it. Because if I get a job or somebody offers me a job, I'm gonna screw that job up. If somebody gives me a car, I'm gonna make sure the engine gets blown. It's always something that they're gonna ruin. Because as soon as they start doing good, they find a way to make it bad.
Hey, Shan, and real quick, not to cut nobody off, but I think it's way more easier to explain never making it than making it and losing it. It's way more easier to explain that. Now I could just lay back and this excuse. Oh, well, I never got the opportunity like they got. If I had the situation he got, I would have did this. Mm-hmm. But when you get it and fumble the bag,
you got to explain that.
Very true.
You got to explain what you do with it. What you made it to the NFL and now you broke? How you make $5 million a year for 4 years in the NFL and they cut you and you ain't got nothing to, and you asking me for $100?
Exactly.
That makes no sense. Yeah, Mr. Quentin. There's a lot of people who's afraid of winning, and and again, where it comes from, I'm not sure. It could be traumatic. It could be the way they were raised or born. But some people will will sabotage their own success. Let's call it that. They will sabotage their own success.
All right. Well, you gentlemen have a great night.
I
Keep up the
appreciate
hard
you,
work.
Quinn. And thanks for keeping it brief, man.
Trying to.
Appreciate that.
Stumbled over my words a bit, but I was trying it. All right. Have a good night.
What?
All right. What's going on, Nick? You there?
Nick is in the house. Nick is in the
Yes,
house.
sir. I'm here. How you guys doing?
I'm doing blessed, man.
What up?
Huge shout out to Chicago. I don't know if he can actually see me, but he and I, we were actually colleagues a couple years ago. I'm actually out here in Portland, Oregon right now.
Yo!
Yes, sir, man. What's good, man? What's poppin'?
Up, fam?
Hey, man, it's crazy, man. So I'm on the other side of the bridge now.
Okay.
If you know what I mean. So I'm with the orange team now. So yeah.
Yep.
But my statement, it wasn't really necessarily a question, but definitely I actually kind of want to speak to not necessarily our culture really being afraid to win, but I want you guys to kind of expand upon, it may just be the lack of exposure. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of us, we're just not necessarily exposed to, business or, other cultures or how, you know what I'm saying, business is actually done across, different state lines or whatever the case may be. And I think that that may really be kind of our downfall, is the lack of exposure. Because I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, lived in Chicago, lived in Dallas, you know what I mean? Now, I'm in Oregon, you know what I'm saying? And so I think there's a gap in between the exposure, you know what I'm saying, that a lot of us don't necessarily have, you know what I mean? So just wanted to kind of hear you guys' point of view on that.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think your surrounding has a direct effect on what your ceiling is. And I can speak to that for myself. When I was in Port Arthur, bro, it wasn't but 3 people we seen be successful. I was drug dealers, I was athletes, and I was people that worked at the refinery. So that's what everybody in that city is trying to get, one of those 3 lanes. But, and growing up, when you growing up there and that's all you see. Like, we didn't have no doctors in my neighborhood. I didn't have no lawyers in my neighborhood, no scientists, no computer science, like none of that. You know what I'm saying? It took me actually leaving the city, going to another state, going to college. And now I'm around these people that got money and, these is trust fund babies and shit. And they like, oh, bro, what are you doing? Oh, no, bro, you need to be doing this. You need to do this. Oh, man, I made $2,000 doing this. And I'm like, wait, what? How is it? I never heard of this hustle. But they putting me on all type of game, and that broadened my mindset. It's like, oh, wow. So, like, it does pay to be an accountant, which is what I ended up getting my degree in. You know what I'm saying? But it took leaving my surroundings to, heighten my ceiling. So I agree with that notion 100%.
Yeah, I think obviously it's lack of exposure. I know growing up at the crib, man, you just same thing. You see, dope boys and entertainers. And then, even if you think about like Bronx Tale, Shan, you remember the Robert De Niro as the dad in Bronx Tale? He was not, what was his name? Cologio or something like that. Like he wasn't appealing, but he was a hard working man. He had a respectable position. You know what I'm saying? So that's not what he wanted to go after, right? So even growing up in Chicago, we got exposed to blue collar workers, but the ones who got the most attention were the D boys, right? And the hoopers. And so, but when I got to Atlanta, man, it was like walking into walking into a different world, literally walking into Hillman College. And then you seeing people drive these nice cars and you couldn't tell if there was lawyers, doctors, you didn't know who was who because everybody was down there. So it exposed you and expanded your horizon on what the possibilities was. Now, the 20 years I lived in Atlanta and the people that I gravitated around, the type of energy that I tended to attract was some really dope people, some really good relationships that I have to this day, right? The crazy thing is the man that I became in Atlanta, I get back to the crib to spread this ism, and I'm still attracting that same type of energy. So it's that I agree 110%. It's that exposure, man.
All right, Nick, we gotta keep it rolling, man. Definitely appreciate the support. Appreciate you calling in.
Nick, what's in them boxes behind you? Like you moving weight, bro.
Hey, man. Be quiet.
Bibles. Nope. It says Bibles back there.
Dog, we got a link, fam. We got a link.
Yo, Rilla, man, I'm gonna hit you up on the gram, man.
Please do, bro.
Bet.
Good.
No.
Appreciate
brother,
it,
man.
JR. Thank you, man.
All right, no problem.
It's a solid brother, man. Salute, King. Solid brother.
What's going on, Polo Bear?
Yeah.
JR, can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you well. What's going on? How you doing?
Polo Bear, not Polar Bear.
My man, Polar
Oh,
Bear.
my bad.
No, just kidding.
Polar Bear.
I was good to see Polar
Nah,
Bear.
he's still
Hey,
Polo Bear.
Shannon, I kind of dropped off for a week on my going to the gym, etc. You know, things happening, but I'll get back on track.
Come on.
So, Rilla, nice to see you again. Mr. Zed, I haven't met you before. Hello.
What's up, man?
You haven't met you before, but hello. So I actually have 4 items. I actually had 3, but I'll try to keep short. I think it was Mr. Quinton, if I remember, 2 callers back, talking about fear of success. I'm going to self-admittedly say that I've had some challenges in that myself. Now, as a public servant in government, I've done quite well. I won't say I'm at the very top, but I'm doing well. But I have done a little bit of like on the entrepreneurial side, haven't done well in it. Maybe I'll do better once I retire and I have more time. From my perspective on the fear of success is, maybe it was alluded to before, is you got to keep it up.
Yeah.
And you have the time, resources, etc., to commit to it. And as I get older, I need a little bit of downtime to, recharge myself. So maybe I just don't have that capacity as well as I could have when I was younger. Anyway, and that's to add on to what Trill said about people that are coming to you expecting you to give payouts to them, whether they deserve it or not. That's not to discount what he said, but this is what I had to say was just above and beyond that. I saw in the chat, some people were talking about, well, what's the definition of masculinity? Of course, there's tons of them out there. One of mine, I think the basic rules or basic components is 1, integrity, 2, accountability, and 3 is doing some form of societal good. It doesn't matter if you're an engineer, which is what I am, if you're a musician, creating music that people can enjoy, a doctor, it really doesn't matter. As long as you're not being a thief or killing people or doing something that's destructive to society. If you're an honorable man doing something good, hey, you got masculinity, whether you have a woman or several women or no women by your side, The other thing was Mr. Zed, correct me if I'm wrong, I may have misinterpreted, I just kind of caught you on that, on the thing about opening doors and everything else like that. I can understand if you have a woman doesn't appreciate the chivalry that you're showing or they're disrespectful. It's like, what the hell? You don't deserve my chivalry that I'm showing you. But I would suggest, and this is for any type of circumstance, not specifically use example, don't fault a whole group just because of a couple sad individuals. I like being chivalrous. I will open doors and things like that, but also I think the woman should appreciate it when you do such things, whether it's putting an umbrella over her head, opening your door, etc., etc. If a given singular woman doesn't appreciate your chivalrous actions, then yeah, she doesn't deserve them. You should throw her to the side. But the next woman, don't treat her as though she was female number 1. And I'm not saying that you did. I was just saying, just in general, for anyone that's viewing, to keep that concept in mind. So the last item, and I'm hoping I'm under 2 minutes, is this just as a suggestion, and I also mentioned it to Anton, who might still be in the chat audience. Just a possibility. I've seen a lot on, this is completely out of the spectrum what was on the topics tonight. Besides life insurance, there's been a lot of talk on like Facebook and everything for some people who are relying on crowdfunding or GoFundMe's or whatever to pay for final expenses for someone that passed away. Now, I understand some people are living to paycheck to paycheck, and I understand that they may not be able to afford insurance policy. I used to sell insurance way back in the day.
Sound like LA.
Yeah, I used to sell insurance way back in the day while I was in college. I did it on a part-time basis. And I met people with good salaries, white, black, both categories, and they could afford a cable bill and a lot of luxuries, but they would not do life insurance, protect their families. And I don't know, I didn't show it, but in my mind, it's like, that is so irresponsible, to your children, whoever might be depending on you. Now, if you were someone that couldn't afford it, I understand. You're just trying to put food on the table, keep the lights on, keep a roof over your head. I understand that it may not always be possible. But above and beyond the life insurance thing, if either you on the Lapeef Network or if Aton does it on his after hours, maybe bring on an attorney, maybe a lead attorney has some contacts that talks about actual estate planning, because it's not just about getting money at the end and burying someone. It's also, if you are incapacitated, you can't do anything, you're not dead, but you still need someone with power of attorney. You need to have medical power of attorney so that someone can make decisions on whether you want to be resuscitated or not, things like that. There's a whole spectrum in there. This is just an option of a possible future topic that you might invite someone to speak on. And I really appreciate it. I think about a week or so ago, JR, you had the surgeon or the doctor, and talk about men's health issues. That was excellent. But anyways, I'm hoping I'm under 2 minutes, and I don't want to crowd up the line.
I appreciate you, Polar Bear.
Have a beautiful day.
Not Polo, but Polar.
Yes. Either way, I'm okay. I'm dual personality.
Appreciate you.
My man, Polar Bear.
Joel, yo.
Driving that truck.
Yeah, I'm always working when y'all streaming. How y'all doing?
We good, bro.
Good.
So let me do a quick shout out to the dude that showed himself the door. I know people probably talk about him in the chat or whatnot, but he was clearly getting emotional. So I'll commend him for being able to take himself out, because I'd rather him do that versus over talking people and doing all that shenanigans stuff. But back to the topic. I do have something to address. Mr. Trill, you had said something earlier that I feel like a lot of men out there, it didn't touch them the right way. When you made the fact for you neglected to say for a certain group of men that there are women will come over to your crib and everything. Like, you don't have to do all this extra stuff. And I don't think you were understanding some of the privilege that might be true for you, but for most men out here, that's not true. And unfortunately, I've had to experience the difference between myself and some other men where they were having difficulties with ladies. And when I said privilege, I don't mean that to be like, you didn't earn it. Like, when I say privilege, I mean like that's just a privilege you have. You worked your way to get to where. Yeah, you get it. Okay. Mm-hmm. But there are the majority of men, that's not how it is for them. They have to, like, they aren't even in the question for most women. But did you want to reply to that or?
No. Okay. I definitely respect your position on it. Okay,
but I do have a question for the panel pertaining to masculinity, because I see masculinity and femininity like you guys familiar with Madden or the sports games on video games? It's like you're able to customize your own character, and each trait has a thing where you can swivel it to the left and right.
Right.
I understand. So I'm not a gamer, but I understand it.
Yeah, so I feel like each trait for it can be swiveled in between masculine, feminine, and whatever. And for each man, it's slightly different. And I believe most men by nature are inherently masculine. And there's also the societal factor, which is nurture, where, especially today, where it's like that masculinity isn't properly taught. So the question is, how much of masculinity for men today is nature versus nurture? Because for me, I believe most men, like I said, are inherently masculine. That's why a lot of men are misunderstood today, unfortunately, in society, where you do have a disproportionate amount of men with a lot of pent up energy and everything, and they're being deemed, ADHD and ADD disproportionately because no one can handle them or their energy properly. Like, the excess young black man being put into EC, school because no one can, the mother can't deal with them on her own. But I believe also with the nurture part of it is a lot of these men that are inherently masculine aren't properly being taught how to, how can I say it, use that
Harness.
masculine, how to harness that natural masculine desire. So to each of y'all, if y'all can answer that question, like how much of it do you believe is nature versus nurture when it comes to masculinity?
I'll go and start off on that. I also believe every man is inherently masculine, right? But it's contextual, right? It depends on your environment. By nature, a man is naturally masculine. You find that a lot of times when it comes to masculine men, it has very little to do with outer appearances. People want to make it about muscles and, how tall you are. And while those things are important, right, they do add, there is a look to masculinity. It's the way you carry yourself. And a lot of times people can really do a man bad by putting him in an environment where he has no masculine figures to look up to. So yes, naturally, boy growing up from a young age, I believe it's natural for him to want to be masculine, but his environment would determine how masculine he will be as he grows in age.
See, which brings me to my point. I think it's all nurture, to be honest. I think when kids are raised, I think like it may be a chromosome, whatever the case may be. Well, I mean, we ain't gonna get, I'm not a scientist. We're not getting into that, but I'm talking about your how you're raised kind of factors that in. Like you have kids, boys that are babied like girls, and they are taught to, I don't want to say be betas because I kind of hate that word, but they are taught to be passive. They are taught to be lenient. They are not taught to be dominant and be competitive and be, focus so much on winning, which is what's necessary, to be honest. I feel like those are masculine traits. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's what, creates masculine traits. It's like leadership. It's like a lot of boys are not taught how to lead. A lot of boys are not taught how to set standards and set morals. A lot of them are just taught to just bend to whatever the woman that they like says or does. And then you have men that are groomed to be masculine. And I feel like it's a good chance that, a greater chance that those boys compared to the boys that are babied and treated like girls growing up, they have a better chance to be masculine if I instill that in my son. No, you are a man. You move like this. This is what your moral code should be. You should be a leader. You should take care of your family. You take care of your little brothers, your little sisters, your little cousins, whatever the case may be. You are a man. You move that way. And I feel like if you instill that in them young, they have a greater chance to be masculine. So I feel like it's way more nurture than nature. It's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, for me to answer it flat out, I think it's like 15% nature, 85% nurture.
JR, you want to turn in?
Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking about how it was when I was a child. I grew up in a single parent household, and I think my mother, she was emotional. It was always a lot of yelling in the house, but I felt like she was masculine. Like my father, he's Nigerian, and I think my mother, she wasn't one to be controlled. So she would challenge him. So it was a little bit of masculinity coming from her. Can't nobody tell her nothing. But I think the balance came from my grandfather. My grandfather would always say, I don't want no yelling in my house. That's what he'd always say. And that stuck with me. It was almost like he set the foundation of the house. So, and I spent a lot of time with him. He was more so my father figure than my actual father. And so I think that he kind of groomed me to be a man. He groomed me he showed me how it was to run a household, because he would always say it's just me and you, we the men, and we got to protect these women. We got to be able to make sure that these women don't worry. So if anything goes wrong, it may be worse. It may be a bad thing, but we don't need to let the women know. And you don't go just running, calling everybody, try to figure it out on your own. So I think with me, I just think it's just something that just kind of groomed. You got it, Joel?
Yeah, you got something? Did Trill go?
Who?
Yeah, true.
Trill.
He said it's all nurture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he already hit already. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I think because from what I experienced,
We gotta keep it brief,
because
Joel.
yeah, I'm sorry, but from what I experienced personally, it's like there are some guys where it's like, of course, you know, in our situations where their father was put out of the house, or they didn't have a father, or didn't know their father, and therefore they struggle with that masculine part. But I forgot who said it, but somebody said it's about kind of wanting to win. And that nurture part comes into play because even though a masculine trait might be for you to want to dominate, which, you know, inherently domination means, you know, usually physically in nature, where you go physically altercate with people. But of course, in today's society, you can't do that because you get locked up and deemed a loser. So I feel like somebody said it, where it's like that inherent want to win, where it's like you have to be taught the game of society in order to win. So I think that's more what it is. So I still believe inherently we are naturally masculine, but I do think, especially in today's society, that nurturing part is very important. But thanks for having me on, though.
Appreciate it, Joel. All right. Now we got
I never thought I would disagree with Trill, but I disagree with you on that one, Trill. We'll talk about it later.
We gotta talk about it later.
we got one more caller. It's really two, but if man don't speak, you can't come on camera, man. I ain't gonna be able to bring you up. So we got one caller, potentially two. I put in the chat for you to come on cam. What's going on, Canadian born Nigeria? Make sure you keep it brief, sir. We got to get these men back today.
I will keep it brief. I'm dealing with my silence right now. I'm not trying to talk too long.
All right.
JR, I like that you shared that story with me because that was something that bothered me with my marriage. I'm a Nigerian as well. Both my parents are Nigerian. When I married my wife, which is the Trinidadian, I was concerned by the cultural difference because upbringing among the black community, it could be different from African American to African Caribbean to African all about. In my country, I'm sure JR.
David, move your mic a little closer to your mouth for us. Just a little bit.
Sorry. I'm sure JR would tell you
There
this,
you
but
go.
among Africans, they used to say don't marry African American, don't marry Caribbean because they feel like they're not going to respect our culture, not going to have that same understanding. I grew up in my 20s when my mom threatened me. Imagine your mom would tell you one day you'll come home, she will lock you in a room with a girl naked. And she wants you. I know you're laughing because you be happy with her, but not me.
No, I think it's traumatic, but go ahead.
Throughout my 20s, imagine your mom telling you she wanted a grandkid. I didn't pay her no mind. I wasn't chasing girl. I was trying to chase my purpose, right? So every now and then, my mom traveled to Nigeria and come back. She got a picture to show me who she wanted to talk to. I turned it down. The one that she threatened me. What if I lock you in a room with a girl? We're gonna do that. I'll jump out the window. She said, what if I lock in a room with no window? I say, hook smash. I'll find a way out. But you can imagine the cultural difference. Like you talk about masculine. I'm trying to make it brief. I think it's based on, like you say, the environment. It's based on the culture. It's based on the mindset. African, especially Nigerian, if you're living in Nigeria for like at least 7 or more years, maybe 2 or 3 years, it kind of like embedded among the young males what a man's supposed to be more. But when I came back to the country, I noticed the big difference. In Africa, they're teaching their young males, their young girls, what the role is as man and woman. But when you come to America, it's kind of like it's brushed off. No one talk about it, no one trying to explain, no one trying to teach it. So I used to wonder, what if the black community as a whole tried to learn from other culture, learn from the African, learn from the Caribbean, learn from people from other African diaspora, see how they think. But I know it's not going to happen because
it's not going to happen. Americans, we don't listen. We don't listen to nobody. We think we on top.
I know that because take this. I live in Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn. I've been here since the 80s. I've been called African Buddha Scratcher. I've been asked, is it true that your woman in your country walk around barefoot and pregnant with a titty? All kind of weird stuff. They think that we're not there in that level of intelligence and education, but it happens. So I can understand the dynamic whereby in 2021 there is a shift going on. I see a lot of African American women looking for African men now. It's been going on for the past almost 10 years now. But I'm not gonna lie. Look at Portia. She was dating one of the richest men in my country, Dan Goat. You all know who he is. He's a big, well-known name in our country. And then one Hot Puppies who got caught by FBI, that's a whole other story altogether. You can imagine. A lot of African American women are chasing African men because they're more committed, which is true. We're taught not to be committed. We're being taught to mingle, mess around, try to come to America. That's not real in Africa. That's not real. If you live with a rich, wealthy royal family, he's sleeping with the maid. He's sleeping with whoever he can met with. He don't have to get married because at the end of the day, when they reach a certain age, he had to choose a wife to get the inheritance to take the kingdom. That's just normal. Other than that, I see what you guys are having with a great conversation. But I'm thinking maybe to have more guys from African diaspora who can bring that point of view to the conversation. I'm seeing that you got to a deeper level of conversation that you need it for the black men. And I really appreciate you guys, Kings.
All right.
JR, to another African brother, Willa, you're a real brother for real.
Thank you, bro.
I appreciate you again, Canadian Nigerian. Thanks again for the support.
Next, I'll be Black David.
Yeah, Black David. There you go, Black David. All right, man. I was feeling like you came. What the hell's going on here?
Hey, say how you the boy, you're a Jabberwocky. Yeah.
What's
We
going
can't
on?
hear you.
Hold on. You're on mute. You got to unmute yourself.
Uh-oh.
What's up? Nah, ain't no Jabberwocky.
Okay.
Rilla.
Right,
No,
my man.
I make a lot of money, man. This is my YouTube persona, so I got to keep my face hidden. A lot
Understood.
But I wanted to say, man, I think what's going to push the needle forward is what you guys are doing, JR. Having this King talk, having the Lapeef Let's Talk. I've been watching you guys, and I like the message you guys been passing on. But yeah, we do have a problem, and I think you guys are fixing it. I'm gonna even join in and try to fix this myself. But you know, it takes one brick at a time to build a foundation.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing that, despite how fast the concrete's drying.
Mm-hmm.
But I do thank you, gentlemen. I've been watching a lot of you guys. I forget the guy name in the middle, but I watched some of his shows recently.
Shannon?
And yeah, Shannon. Yeah, I've been watching some of your shows, man. I just want to keep the positivity up, and I'm glad you guys doing the work you guys are doing. I really wanted to shout you guys out. Pretty soon I'll be on your level.
All right, man. That's not Jackson, is it?
Say it again.
I said that's not there. Somebody in the comments says that Derrick Jackson.
Oh, they said the same thing. They said the same thing to me when I was on
the
league attorney show.
Yeah,
it's okay. I love the chat. The chat is like a second show. I'm cool with all that, man.
Hey,
cool.
Manosphere, you said that you said this is so for the people that's in the chat, this is your persona. This is part of the show that you have. Are you are you transitioning your show from one different type of topic over to the topics that you just mentioned?
It's gonna be pretty much based on the manosphere. I advocate for men, pretty much. In the past I used to be a bartender,
mm-hmm.
and I've heard a lot of different stories. I gained a lot of game, a lot of knowledge, and I expand upon that. So when it comes towards the game, I'm just giving all the game that I soaked up throughout the years and things in that nature. But it's going to be based on giving you stories of situations that I've been in
mm-hmm.
and situations that I've heard of. And me being able to recite this information in a meal that's digestible, in a form where people could digest it and understand where I'm coming from.
That's what's up, bro. All right,
but
I'm gonna tap in, man. I'll find your channel. I'm gonna subscribe so we can so I can get some of your content.
Thank you, man, and salute to you guys. And JR, thank you for allowing me on your show.
No problem, man. Thanks for the support.
All right, you guys.
All right, y'all. That's it, man. That is it. Let me get these people out the studio real quick so I can.
Well, this one for the books, ain't it?
Yeah,
we had all types of stuff.
Are we off live?
No. We still live. Yeah. Keep it PG.
No,
man.
don't say nothing.
Yeah, keep it PG. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna thank you guys. I'm gonna make sure everybody support the channel, and then I'm gonna play a little bit of music, and then I'm gonna cut it off, and we can have our conversation. All right, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for again blessing the platform, and to you guys out there in TV land. This is the new TV. This is the greatest network ever, and we have some of the greatest shows ever. Appreciate the support. Make sure you guys subscribe and like the channel. And again, it's been real. Hey, you guys stick around. It's been real, y'all. Until next time, we out. Let me laughing, Rilla. Try to get your cool face on now. You thought I had this shit queued up already, right?
Ow.
Appreciate the super chat, Jonathan. I see it. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat.